Let's get it. Yes, yes. Make sure everything is working. Yo. What's up, beautiful people? What's up, beautiful people? Today is a beautiful Thursday. Let's make sure that we are live on all platforms. Shout out to Instagram, StreamYard, YouTube, Facebook, and I'm going on TikTok right now as well. Let's make sure how this thing is working. TikTokiana, make sure we are liveana into one. Yes, sir. There we go. There we go, loved ones. How are y'all feeling out there today? Let me see how my audio sound a little. Yeah. Let me know how I sound out there in real time. Let me know if everything sounds so copacetic, if everything is moving with fluidity, and I sound pristine and precise on this microphone right now. Let me know. Yes, today I'm super pumped, super ecstatic, super blessed. Every day is a moment where I could take time out to give immense amount of gratitude, and I think it's our just due. I know it's definitely my just due that I come and I approach life with that perspective. Understand that I'm super appreciative. I move forward in a progressive manner. That's what I intend to do. Although there are some setbacks that we all encounter, but it's part of the process. So I always look forward to living the best way that I can because I know that tomorrow's not promised and I could do some things today that may influence the outcome of my life possibly tomorrow, as well as influence to help other people with acts of service and servitude that I could pay that forward with because I know there are people and places and things that aid me to be the best version of myself. And I want to highlight these things as a caveat as we get started, right? So uh yes. I'm super appreciative, ecstatic, and I'm gonna get a round of applause for all of you guys out there as well. Please let me know how you feeling today because it's important to me to know how you are doing in real time. Uli, what's up, loved one? Big congrats, man. I love you unconditionally. Oh, my cousin is in the building. Come on, the OG Black Irish. Come on, Kino. What's up, loved one? I missed you this week, but we definitely gonna catch up, loved one. We definitely gonna catch up. Give a round of applause for all my loved ones out in the building already. Right now, you see my red cup. Now, disclaimer: in that red cup, I have none of my old vices in there. Right? I don't have that good old liquor that I used to be sipping on. Right now, in there, I got that mango. Or I always say mango Jack lemonade because I get it almost every day from Starbucks. And this is a shameless plug. Starbucks, give me a sponsor. Your boy, sponsor your boy. You heard? But that's mango, cranberry mango, cranberry mango. Yes, that's what I'm drinking right now in that cup. I love it. I take that during the course of the day when I have my extra sweetness, right? When I drink the continuous water and try to get on my water game, I take a cup of some of that cranberry mango lemonade, right? My brother Uli says, every Thursday I stop by and say what's up to my big brother. I love you more, bro, for life and after. Big Fendi. Hope all is well, King. Keep going up. Always us, never them. I love you unconditionally, family. Let's go. Yeah, I'm super pumped. See now we about to get in our bags. Yes, we about to get in our 2 3s. We about to get in that big old duffel. Absolutely. This is what we here for. We are here to get inside of our duffels. That's what we're doing today. You know, I get inspired by so many things. I get inspired by the conversations that I have. I get inspired by seeing my loved ones go through life, experience life, and go through troubling times, make it out with their sanity, and be able to have a peace of mind and offer their wisdom and bestowed upon the God Himself. I love to have people around me. I love to have uh, great environments to inhabit. I love to take in informative information. Oh, Gold Coast, what's up, cousin? Ena in the building. What's up? What's good, God? Not is in the building. Big love. Hope the twins are doing wonderful. Hope the baby's doing good. Absolutely. But yeah, so I love just adding to these conversations from my experiences, from what I experienced during the course of the week. So there's a brother of mine by the name of Josh, super inquisitive young brother, and I'm super ecstatic when I come across some of these situations. Oh, I hear the vibration. I hear the vibration. So I have, if you heard some of that vibration in the background, it's because I'm live on TikTok. There's action on TikTok. Shout out to my TikTokers. And I have the phone, placed on top of the desk, but it's all good. So back to what I'm saying about my brother Josh. My brother Josh, me and him converse almost every day, right? And we talk about so many things about life, and I get so many perspectives because he's a young brother, but he has so much wisdom for his age. There's things that he experienced in his life that he shared with me. I've done the same thing, vice versa, and we just come together, having some great dialogue about how we see things, how we see life, how we prioritize with our families. And then I look at these things to where I take a lot of his information that he shared with me, and I like to turn them to talking points and be able to give me great dialogue to carry us through some of our podcasts, some of my other interactions, some of the things that I love to share because I think it hits home for me. So, and I know it can be utilized for the people out there in the real world, because it wasn't, that conversation didn't happen for no reason. I don't think that things happen for happenstances. I think things are purposely happening around us because of the acts that we do, the questions that we want to know, the things that we want to bring into our lives. I think it's a thought that starts here and then it's carried out through action. So I feel like once I get blessed with the information from wherever I get it from, I love to share with my loved ones, because I know if it has me on the edge of my seat, I know that it may do something to incite your psyche in a way to where it can drive you to be a better version of yourself. So back to my brother Josh, we was conversing, building, and there was a conversation that came out to where he said along the lines, I have it in my phone, but I'm actually let me think about it real quick. Um, it was more or less along the lines. It pretty much influenced the conversation today about alive and a 35th episode. Yes, powerful 35th episode. But our conversation was around let me quote him right, the closest that I can get. He was saying there's no measuring. He said you can't measure, you can't measure, you can't measure. Mm, you know what? I may have to do it. Should I do it? No, I ain't gonna do it. All right. Let me just tell you how I internalize it, right? Without saying it verbatim. So when you're saying that you can't measure the kindness or the lack thereof kindness because of other people, right? And I'm chopping it up, but once I get finished right here, I have it written down verbatim, because that's what I do. I have all those little sticky notes written down. But long story short, he said you can't measure kindness based on the lack thereof or um the kindness of other people, meaning that they're going to be people in your life, right, that may have some level of disdain, dislike, have some level of energy around them that doesn't really feed your spirit, right? It actually does the opposite, right? It doesn't give you that extra push to want to be a better version of yourself or be able to pay that forward. Sometimes you bump into some people in the real world and it's like, oh, that's disgusting. What's up with their energy? Their aura is just off. So what we were talking about is that when he was blessing me with his wisdom, he was just talking. He was saying like what he learned throughout his life is that, and he gave you an analogy. He was saying that a lot of times he smiles all the time, and he says he practiced this a lot every day. It's a conscious effort, and he does it intentionally to smile at people. And he said what he noticed throughout his life, there are people that won't smile back. There's some people that will smile. And then when they converse with conversation, he said there are times where people feel as if they want something, or as if he wants something from them. And that sparked my interest. He said that when he converse, he smiles, say hello, and he does these nice, kind gestures. Some people feel that there's a hidden motive behind this smile. And it sat me back in my seat because it made me think about my smile and how I interact and who I talk to and how I converse. My cousin says this: you always been a info junkie, family. Laugh out loud, big Fendi. But one thing about you, always put the info to work. That's a big Fendi, loved one. You know that. Every time I get some type of information, I love to put it out there into the ethos to figure out, is this validated? How can I get the truth from um these words of wisdom? How can I get this scribe or these principles or these morals or these belief systems, and I not go out there and test them in real time? Because the whole idea is building a foundation on truth, meaning that I need to go out there in the real world and not just my perspective, which is a beautiful thing because we all have different levels of perspectives, but then we have connotative and denotative languages. We have languages that are speaking from a context of just what everybody understand for what we know it as, and there's the truth, right? That's why they talk about in some books, and we have the words of etymology, right? Meaning that we have the real true meaning of some of these words. Sometimes you may see a word and misassociate what that word may mean. It may mean one thing to you from what we know it as, just using connotative language that we all can understand. But the underlying of it is denotative, which is the truth of what that word means. And a lot of times we go through our lives loosely throwing around some of these terms, throwing around these words, have these meanings, and we inhabit these meanings. And then we take on the ideology for what we believe it to be, but not knowing its true meaning in essence. And I think that it could be, we can be misguided by the languages that we use, who we converse with, what we talk about, the ideas that we have, who we share ideas with. I know there's a term where they say, or there's a saying that says, you never want to share an idea, a big idea, with a small mind. You never, I heard this from Nehemiah Davis, but he says, and he may have got it from someone else, but this is where I heard it from. He said, you never want to share except King invites you to co-host. um I don't know who my brother is right there, but I don't know. Let me decline it real quick. I don't know who that is. But yeah, you never want to share a big idea with a small mind. And it makes me think about how we converse with one another, what we talking about. How do we get from a position of being an optimistic person, somebody looks at the cup as half full, versus a pessimistic individual looking at the cup as half empty? And I'm like, well, where do we have these levels of doubt in our lives? Why do we go through life um putting uh or assigning a level of difficulty to things before we even start them? And it makes me think about us as individuals, who been feeding us defeat, who constantly throughout our lives tell us that we can't be accomplishable. This is not accomplishable. We can't go out there and be individuals of greatness, respect, honor, discipline, trustworthiness, truth. Why aren't these words embedded in our psyche? But we still, but every day we go through life and we deal with some of the negative connotations to things. We think of the negative. Oh, this person ain't that, or he or she isn't this. I don't believe in this because I never seen this work, or he or she that's doing their thing over there, I find a reason to diminish or try to throw some salt on their wound to try to make it seem like they're not as good at their job because I'm suffering in my life. And there are areas in my life where I can't figure out who I am and what I offer to the world. Have an invite, but I don't know. It says has guest, blah blah blah. There's a brothers. Kashi King invites you to co-host on uh, TikTok. What's up, my brother? Who is it? Our social, what's up, social, what's up, loved one? So I'm over here multitasking. I'm on different platforms. Shout out to everybody on each platform: Instagram, YouTube, StreamYard, Facebook, all of the dope platforms, TikTok, everything. Yes, invite, blah, 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 join live. So, okay, I got it. All good. So back to what we're talking about today, as of right now. So this is why I bring up these conversations, because like I said, when I'm talking to my brother Josh, we talk about things along the lines of just how we can grow and be better individuals. So when he was talking about how he practices with intention, smiling every day to get his spirit in alignment of who he wants to be and how he can shape and mold his purpose based on how he interact with himself, and then go out there in the real world and interact with other people. And I'm like, that's powerful. And then he started giving me some of his scenarios that he encounter when he does smile, in some of the people reactions when you do the gesture of trying to shape and mold who he desired to be. So when he go out in the real world and he smile, he said a lot of times there are people that has a sense that he has a hidden agenda because of his smile. And I'm like, well, why do you think is that? We from New York, we in the Yiddy. So a lot of times in the streets, a lot of times people don't catch a lot of eye contact. It's a funny thing because everybody around you sees everything, but they just don't let you know that they see you, right? They don't they watch you cross the street. As soon as you cross the street, they turn their focus on to something else other than to make it seem as if they're not paying you any attention. But it feels like that fishbowl syndrome. Everybody is walking in the middle of the street. Everybody sees you, but they don't see you because they don't want to let you know that they see you. And it's this thing to where when he says, when he catch these eye contact, when he talk and when he converse to other individuals, there's a sense of people looking at him kind of strange because in this fast-paced environment, we don't tend to slow down to have that hospitality normally that you see like in southern states, in southern areas. Yo, what's up, loved one? Peace, God. So these are some of the things that I love to bring to our attention because it made me think about how do we get here? How do we get here on our 35th episode, not being invited to the party? Oh, not being invited, but inspired. Have you ever been not invited to a thing that you felt like you were supposed to be present for? Have you ever felt like you wanted a seat at the cool table, but you wasn't invited? And that cool table could be the table of Amp Sub Love One. That cool table could be some type of maybe the chess club, maybe not making the sports team, whether it's any sport, baseball, football, basketball, badminton, softball, volleyball, whatever it may be. You just wasn't invited to that cool table. You have a gathering, there's some friends or family members that having a festive outing or something, and you felt like you need to be privy or present, and you didn't get that extended invite. How did that make you feel in those moments? I can be fully transparent about mine. I love to share mine. But have you ever been not invited to a place that you felt like, man, I wish my presence could have been graced in this space? Or have you ever questioned, well, is it me? Am I not the person that I've built these relationships with? Or I established, am I not a loving person? Am I not the individual that I think I am? Do other people deem me or see me as that same individual? Has that question ever came up? Have you ever thought of these things in that type of context? I know I have. And what I learned over time is that you no matter where you go. You can never run from you. And you always have to show up the best version of yourself no matter where you go. There are going to be some places, some people, some things that may not want your presence around. And it's not for you to figure out why or why not. It's finding your placement of saying that in the areas where I want to be at in my life, I'm going to show up uninvited or not. Because I know that I'm out here serving a purpose. I have a premise on why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know that there's a calling that of acts of servitude that I have to show up in these areas to be the best version of myself because there's something that's dependent upon it. I was my brother Ant. Lived in Timmy's shadow for years. Wow, family. Nobody knew my name. I was always Timmy's brother. Laugh out loud. Man, cousin Breeze, what's up, loved one? Yo, shout out to my brother Ant. And you know what's wild about that is living in someone else's shadow. I felt like that too. I've been there as well. Although it didn't happen with my sibling, it happened with one of my parents, my father to be exact. I was always little Johnny. Breeze, big love, family. Breeze, much love, big love, family. I was always little Johnny. And although I am a junior, same name, same exact name, etc. Why that affected me is because I felt like there was a missing component in my life. And I'm gonna ask you, you know what, Ant, before I jump the gun, how did that make you feel? Let me ask you, how did that make you feel just living in the shadow of your brother, Timmy? How did that make you feel? I really want to know because I know how I felt. And there's some beautiful things and some other things where I wish I could shake off. Let me take a sip of this good old mango lemonade. You heard? My mom says this to me all the time. Boy, you better stop drinking on camera. It's not, you don't have the proper etiquette. You drinking on camera, you're making everybody look like you know. Take your drinks off camera. Mother, I was really, really parched. Really, really parched. Let me tell you how I felt. Now, I love my father unconditionally. And having loved ones and parents, you learn to appreciate some of the things as you get older and as you start to understand as you come into your manhood and your womanhood. And my father is a beautiful person, and I'm not really a person to dodge and run from these type of conversations, because as a grown man, I love to have them with my loved ones, my siblings, my parents, etc. Because I feel that if we know how we interact with one another, how we feel, it builds a better and a stronger communication. Now, my father, just a little backstory, my father had moved to Florida area back in 1995. Here it is now. It's 30 years. My father had been down in down south, southern areas, right? Florida, then Carolinas, etc. So always had a relationship with my father, but not the type of one that I wanted. And with that being said, since it wasn't the type of relationship, Sharanja, what's up, love? Pretty rare. I always say your Instagram handle, but I never say your name. And I want to be able to give you that same proper just due and respect, because I say it all the time. And I'm like, the names be throwing me off a lot. Sharanja in the building. What's up, loved one? How my little cousins doing? But yeah, so back to my pops, right? So me and my pops, I love my condition. I talk to my pops call, we build, we got a great relationship, right? But when I was younger, not having a physical presence of my dad not being here, I felt like there was a missing component. So being in the shadow of somebody calling you every time, little Johnny, it was just like your pops, man, your pops is this, your pops is cool, your pops. And I'm hearing all these great stories about how my father was from the people and his peers and how they looked at him. And I'm like, man, this is a complimentary thing to get these type of accolades and be able to be associated with something that seems to be great because other people looked at him and respected him in the same manner. But then me, on the other hand, not having him here physically as a man, I felt like I was missing something. So being in the shadow of that, I was toiled with how I felt emotionally. In one instance, when people in the streets look at him as being somebody of high esteem and high regard as a stand-up individual, I felt like for me as a child, there was something that was missing that I felt I was living in shadows of that I wasn't getting. So all those great things that people saw within him, I felt like I wasn't receiving that. So being in the shadow kind of, threw me for the loop because I didn't know how I was supposed to feel. I see other people big them up, giving all this love. And this is not I love my pops. My pops know that because me and him talk like grown men, and I love them. But there's so many things I respect about him and I know about him today that I was unaware of just being a child. And as I became a man, I'm like, man, the hat that he wears and the things that he's gone through and the things that he do, I have a different understanding of how I felt as a child. And that's just growing and maturing as a man, which is a beautiful thing. And I think that there's always room for growth with everybody, because once you get to a space in your life to where you can address issues honestly and have the level of clarity and transparency, I believe that anything could be worked out. Anything could be worked out. And this is where I know our environments and our communities get stuck because we have this stigma of saying that, oh, hey, I went through this situation, I was hurting. And since I'm hurting, I want you to hurt. Whatever that hurt looks like. One second, my brother Ann says, honestly, I felt like I didn't necessarily matter enough to get to know me. Woo. That hit right there, loved one. That hit right there, loved one. Let me say that again. My brother Ant says, honestly, I felt like I didn't necessarily matter enough to get to know me. Man, I tell you. Man, I tell you. Whew, I got to take a second for that. For people being in a space, right? Living in the shadows of another personnel, being the black sheep of the family, being the person that's on the sports team all the way at the end of the bench, never getting no burn, the person that's not getting all of the praise from the guy or the girls because you're not the popular one. Um, being in an environment to where everybody has abundance of money and you're the broke one. um going through life where everybody's just smiling and happy and you're sad. Those are the shadows. Everybody around you have a voice to speak, but you feel like you don't have no value because you were silenced your whole life. Living in the shadows. I think that we all have crossed this path at one time or another during the course of our lives where we wanted to stand out or stand amongst, and it was kind of like we felt left out. We felt left out. I know what that feels like. I've been there. There's some experiences now, depending on where I go, what environment I be in, who I converse with. Sometimes I toil with, you can say maybe imposter syndrome, feeling like I'm not who I say I am because of some of those old thoughts start to stir back up because there was something that maybe someone poked at that know a little bit about me. Maybe there was a conversation in comedy that I watched on television. They said something that struck a nerve. Maybe there was somebody in the middle of the street said a trigger word that turned me to fall back in the shadows. That's some of the things that I've experienced. And I know that in the world that we living in, it's apparent by our stories like me, my brother Ant, to the the lost lives of individuals that felt that they had to take their lives because they didn't matter. We talk about these terms of mental health, dealing with levels of abuse, having certain levels of awareness, dealing with certain levels of trauma, not having the proper healing, not having the voices to speak how we want to speak, or just being able to be heard because it feels like no one around us is listening. There's so many things that plague on our communities, that plague on ourselves when we feel like I don't even know me. So powerful for my brother Ant. There are so many scenarios that I find myself in where I'm conflicted because I haven't found myself yet. Man, I'm reflecting at the very moment because I see these things um clear as day. When I was talking about that imposter syndrome showing up in some environments and not feeling like I am who I say I am, these are the moments where I need those reminders that, oh no, you are perfect. You are exactly where you need to be, no matter who like it or disagree, or who's opposed of it. It don't make no difference what they think because your decision making led you in that space that you occupy. And you create the world that you want to live in. Did you create the world that you want to live in based on your own perceptions, how you perceive things around you? How are you receptive to the information? How do you exert and give that same information back off and pass that forward? You basing your experiences on truth. It's a difference when you walk in spaces and you occupy or roam this world that we living in with an autonomous mindset, with the mindset that, oh, I am worthy. I am valuable. Nobody can take anything away from me because everything that I perceive is from my thoughts, my perceptions, my experiences. So when people want to come into your space and in your life and they want to strip you from the way you think for whatever reason, you first have to question, well, why? Why does this person want to have this level of influence on me? Is it for my best interest? Is it for their motive? What are the intentions? I love this quote, always bring it up by Gary Vee. Get around people that love you enough to tell you the truth. See, I don't want to be pacified. I don't want to be coddled. I don't want to be told you're right, 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 and you're right. No, I like to be told, hey, you may be right, you may be wrong. I think what you're doing requires further research or just the perspective of saying, you know what, you got this. You can figure it out. Because if you wasn't in this position, that means that you wasn't meant to be here. If you wasn't in the position that you occupy at the very moment, that means that you wasn't supposed to be there initially. So since you are there, you are meant to be there. Since you are there, you are meant to be there because there's something that you have to learn and grow through. I love from Coach Lucky when he says there's some things you grow into, then you grow out of. There's some things that you grow into and then you grow out of it because of your level of understanding how things work. We don't give the baby the car keys and tell him to go to the store and go food shopping and bring back the car. Make sure you fill the gas tank up. You dig? We don't do that with children because they don't even know how to put the key in the ignition initially. Although we got some smart babies nowadays, but they can't reach the pedals. They can't push their foot down, steer, watch out for traffic, knowing what cars to come, what cars to go, when they yield, when the light turns green, yellow, red. They don't know what these things mean. But we want to put on their shoulders the level of responsibility as if they already know, not knowing that they have to learn and grow to get to that point in their life. And us as adults, there's some things that we missed out during our experiences early on, which is not a bad thing. But now that we have all of this information around us, there's an obligation that we have to do. That means that we have to go out there and make a concerted effort to be better than we were yesterday by only being 1% better. Being 1% better. Because we think that the turnaround happens drastically. Nah, it doesn't happen like that. It's seeds that are planted. It's seeds that are planted. Once you plant that seed, then we have an obligation to go out there to nourish it. Give the proper sunlight. Make sure it's in a proper fertilizer. Give it some plant food so it can grow strong, healthy. And then understand once it grows, then it has the branches that it reaches out. There we go. There we go. Now we be able to have those extra limbs, which is our resources. Once we grow, we become the resource. We become resourceful. That's how our growth happens. We go out there initially to go gather the information. We come back and we apply the information. And now we are the source of the information. And now we have an obligation to go out there and disperse it amongst our community, amongst our loved ones, and operate under these same teachings or methods or principles. It's very important to understand who you are, where you are. And every day you have a moral obligation to get more familiar with you. Every day you have a moral obligation to get more familiar with you. See, if people want to take you away from that, why? If people don't want you to think and be a free thinker, why? Why not? Why they don't want you to think for self and have the levels of intuitiveness to want to go out there and exercise your thoughts and your belief systems? Because it's the life that you have to live. It's the reality that you need to create for oneself. And then ultimately, how you create that world for you, the next generations that's coming up, what world are you bringing them up into? Because we all have people that we love, children, siblings, friends, family, just people in the streets that you want to see do better. Because I know that when I see people that seem to be homeless and things like that, I look and I pray for over those people to wish that they had, some food, clothing, and shelter, or help. In my mind, I hope they can navigate and figure out what needs to work for them so they can be um, prosperous individuals in their life. productive individuals in their lives and be able to add something to their table to where, they can offer that gift that's enough to be able to go out there and share with someone else their experience, their testimony, because there's value in that. So it makes me think about these things in my life on how I want to approach the information that I do acquire. It makes me think about how I want to go out there and uh, create my purpose, because we all have a job to do. We all have a job to do. We cannot do it and we can avoid it. And then what happens in that state is that we don't create those same opportunities for the people that we say that we love, because the world that we bringing them up into is idleness, stillness, no movement. And when things don't move, they turn to disorder and chaos. They rot, they deteriorate. When you don't take care of your health, you get out of shape. When you don't take care of your health, you develop underlying diseases. When you don't take care of your mental health, you can be led astray by the information that you take in. Because some people may show up as charlatans, imposters, and may feed you the wrong fruit. It's not really fruit, it's poison. They maybe start feeding you the poison. They start telling you do things that's against your moral belief, your moral conduct. That means that the things you eat, the things that you watch, the things you consume, all of this type of food. And now we going in the world operating off of dishonesty, no loyalty, no trust, no honor, operating, eating, feeding the poison. So we doing the work of the people that's not in favor of you, because there's an agenda. But we won't be able to see what's coming if we don't get tapped in with oneself and get tuned in with oneself. So now the battle becomes that much harder, because it starts with you, and then they come after your family, they come after your environment, they come after your peoples, they come after your school settings. Now we got things where they affect, our livelihoods for, people to come after us. Right now, it's time to jump into a real commercial break. I love you guys. Let me get tapped in really quick, and I'll be right back. Quay, what's up, sis? Be right back after the commercial break. Stand by. Peace, beloveds. Thank you for tuning in to the Respectfully Great podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reed, and I appreciate your continuous support. Do you know that over 80% of the people that watch our channel aren't subscribed? By subscribing to our channel, you give us the opportunity to bring on more guests to add more value to our channel. To join our growing community, head over to respectfullygreat.com, sign up for our email list to get exclusive updates on empowering blogs, as well as the latest and greatest in Respectfully Great fashion. Once again, it's nothing but big love, and we value your commitment. Let's do it, but now we back. So I was over there talking to the TikTokers because while we had the commercial break going on. But ultimately, it's those things. It's those things that, let me switch back over to some of the platforms. Shout out to everybody on all of the platforms. First and foremost, again, Instagram, YouTube, StreamYard, Facebook, TikTokers. Man, I love all of you guys. I know I can't be on all platforms at the same time, but I'm trying my best to navigate. To leave the comments in due time, I will respond. I will see them. And shoot me a DM. You can do that as well. You can put them on YouTube to where they can live forever. Even though we have the other platforms that we are using, if you put them on the feed on YouTube, it'll be there forever. So although we got these things in moment right now, you can also put those comments up on those other platforms to where it can stay and have the longevity that we're looking for. Yes, we are talking about not being invited to the party, not being invited, but you can become inspired. Inspiration. See, life has a funny way of inspiring all of us. There's some things that subtly may happen in your life to where all of a sudden you're like, oh, man, this was a blessing in disguise. I always bring up this word because I got familiar with it as of recent, which is called serendipity, right? And this is where there's an accident, there's an occurrence, something happens in your life or in the world to where it seems like a misfortune in the moment. Seems like a misfortune, all to play out in the near future as something favorable to you. I found this to be very, very valuable because I hear stories all the time about all of us of having a troubling past, having some level of trauma, having some level of discomfort, having an inferiority complex, um, being somebody that's maybe submissive and docile, lacking the ability to go out there and face your fears because we know what fears is, false evidence appearing real. So we're going out in the world of this false evidence and it appears to be real. What we know is fake, but we built up in our minds and our environments that we are handicapped to the degree we can't go and operate out of our greatness. So these are some of the things that, hinder us. So what I learned about these things, about these serendipities, about these occurrences, we can use all of our experiences, the things that we have gone through, the troubling past, the trauma, the depression, the inferiority complexes, the misfortunes, the financial woes, all of these things we can use for our advantage. What I mean about the serendipity, when you had those misfortunes, you have something that's very, very valuable that some people that never had or always had, people that always had that when people always had, and you come from a position or a background where you didn't always have, there's a level of value initially from not having or experience that you have that the other people may not be familiar with. And what it would do to you is it would stir you up to have a drive to say, hey, I was in that troubling time. I don't want to go back there. And there's a level of work that you know that you have to do and upkeep and maintain in order to not experience what you once experienced that you're trying to get away from. That's where your real value is at. See, people say they don't really know what they don't have until it's gone. People don't know what they have until it's gone, meaning that when you always have, you don't know the value of the thing. So when you had to work to acquire something, and then all of a sudden it's gone, no longer in your life, there's a level of appreciation that you now have that some people that always have. And I'm not just talking about financial, I'm just talking about the little small things, the subtle things in people's lives. It could be simple love, as we call simple. Some people life love is a very hard thing to acquire, very hard thing to understand, very hard thing to exert or even give out because they don't know what it looks like. Although some of us may take it as for granted. But have you ever not been loved and you know what love look like now? Maybe if you always just had, you don't know what it's like not to have until you don't have it anymore. Or the people that always loved you no longer around to love you anymore. Now you don't have that love. Now you know what not having love feels like. It could be the same thing when it comes to financial. It could be the same thing when it comes to um some level of trauma. It could be some internal thing that you're dealing with. It could be with your health and wellness. It could be underlining, things happening in your life that you just haven't experienced. But when you do experience them at some point in your life, there's an immense amount of value that can be bottled up and shared and learned, and something that you can grow through. You grew in, then you'll be able to grow out of it. It's experience, it's a part of you, but you could change and rewrite how that story works for you. That word serendipity, initially a misfortune or accident, something that just wasn't favorable to me at that time, could be something of immense amount of value today in life because you can rewrite that story. You can say, although I've been through that troubling time, you know who that made me today? Because if I have a voice right now to speak up about that experience, that means I made it through. Yeah, I may be still connected to some of the ills of that thing. But if I'm able to talk about it today, that means you made it through. You may be 75% through. You may be 75% worked your way out of that situation. You found coping mechanisms. You found ways to deal with the levels of stress. You found things that work for you to change your environment, change the people you're around, change how you thought about things, change your perspective and how you associate when it comes to things. That's where the real value is at. You know, it's valuable when I watch some of these other um channels and podcasts, etc. And you know, they always make fun of Stephen A. Smith because he's very, very opinionated, great at what he does as an analyst. But a lot of people that played the game, he said it's a beautiful thing for somebody to observe the game and tell people how the game works, but never really experience being inside of the game. And if you have a story to tell, if you've been through something, you the person that actually played that game. So there's a level of value that always will be appreciated by somebody that have gone through the thing. Not saying that we have to go through things in our life to have an understanding and have high levels of empathy. What I'm saying is that you don't have to diminish your value to feel like I didn't do the proper years of schooling to teach, to talk, to tell my experience because you're already qualified. That's what I mean. You are already qualified. Your life qualifies you. No school book, no financial, no other person, no other environment. Those things don't have to validate you. You lived your life already. You're living it. You are the experience. That's the validation alone. That's what you have. And a lot of times in our communities, in this world that we live in, people want to diminish that value. They want to tell you, stop telling that old story. They tell people that have been, you know, they want to rewrite how slavery was associated, right? And they want to say, "Oh, forget about it. Don't worry about it. It happened so long ago." You people who ever been enslaved at some point in their lives, right? Because we all been colonized at some point, but they want to tell everybody just get over it. But some people they keep playing the story over and over and over again. They keep putting it in front of your face. They have systemic racism. They have all types of things that's going on in the world to want to handicap you, but they tell you just get over it, even though they operating from authoritative perspective in the real world. So they want to have autonomy over you, tell you what to do, what not to do, set laws and rules up so you can't operate out of your greatness. But they keep telling you that the woes that you once were under, just forget about it. Just stop worrying about it. Forget about it. It happened so long ago. You still worried about that? But don't understand that there are people secretly working against you, as if you're not the person to go out there and feel some type of way about how things are operating, how things are working. And then when you find a way to go out there to feed your family and be able to be intuitive of what's going on with your community, be intuitive of who you are as a person, finding I don't have to live in the shadows anymore and I could come forward and I can live my life in a way that other people may agree or disagree with, but it don't make no difference because this is how I want to live my life and how I want to communicate with my community and how I want to love on the people I want to love on and how I want to be able to show acts of servitude by extending my hand, whether it's just holding the door for somebody, whether it's helping the old lady or older gentleman to the car with their groceries, or telling somebody, or simply like my brother Josh said, I just smile and ask people how they doing because you never know what people are going through. So he says in the morning after he does his 5 mile run, my boy does 5 miles in the mornings. Fastest time he got is 17 minutes. My boy working. Shout out to my brother Josh. 17 minutes, 5 miles. Phenomenal. But he says he does this every morning to get his day started. He go run, take care of his family, kiss his baby, love his family, do what he got to do, and then now he off into the real world and showing acts of servitude. And he put on that smile and make sure that listen, man, I got to get my energy right because I know I got a job to do. Because I got to be happy with me, and I know one way for me to be happy is keep showing acts of servitude, going out there in the real world, smiling, let people know that's going to be okay. There's a reason you should smile. No matter how many things are tearing you down, there's a reason you should smile because you're here right now. That means there's opportunity for you. There's a way for you to work out those woes. There's a way for you to get skillful and work out that trauma. There's a way for you to work those things out by sharing your experiences, getting that knowledge that you need, sharing that knowledge, building groups and building think tanks, building communities, building environments to where it's safe havens for people that have once experienced being overshadowed, for people not having the voices that they once desire to have. Now we have a non-judgmental environment to where we can share a safe space to speak how we want to speak. You can create that. You can create that, starting with yourself. It starts with you. Create this safe space for yourself to speak how you want to speak to oneself. How about loving on yourself? Say the world don't want to love you for whatever reason. The world is just objecting my viewpoints. They don't love me. I feel I'm just out of sync. My frequency is off. This energy around me is just negative. I understand that. But you know what you can do though? You can start tuning the frequency within oneself. Start accepting oneself. Start loving yourself. We think of times of isolation and solitude. Why do people want to be alone? Sometimes that lone state is really the space for you to start to think, moment of clarity. Sometimes stepping back is a way of just fine tuning to get moments of clarity. Because sometimes we're in the middle of the storm, as we've seen today with the weather, rain going crazy, clouds blocking out, everything else that's, supposed to be visible. And then all of a sudden the sun comes out after after the smoke clears, after the cloud clears, after the storm passes, then the sun come out. The sun will come out tomorrow. You feel me? Things like that. Things like that. There's always a silver lining, but we got to find it. We got to be on the search and the hunt for it. We have to find reasons to be, we have to find reasons to live. Find your reasons to live. Find your reasons to smile. Find your reasons to be invited to your own party. Find the reasons to accept self. Find the reasons to fine tune your skill sets. Fine tune your frequency. Find reasons to go out there and show acts of servitude. Find reasons to be proud of who you are. Find reasons to say that story that happened in the past, just part of it's just a small portion of the whole of the great things that I intend to do. Find reasons to take all of your experiences, bottle them up, and come up with a solution. Because clearly there was an issue at that time that you couldn't figure out, but you found a way through it. If you were able to be here in real time now, you figured out a way. How did you do it? Tell me. I want to know. I want to know. Tell me how you done it. Because there's some things that I know I need fine tuning in my life that I need the assistance in. And I bank on each and every individual that love me enough to tell me the truth. So now I could take what they got going on and do further research. Apply that to my livelihood, the things that I see, add to my perspective. Let me put this on a scale. How does this weigh out? I learned this. My loved ones tell me this. How does it work? Maybe what my loved ones told me may not be all the way that it may not be all the way I intend it to be. Maybe there's some fine tuning within that. But the beauty of having your story, their story, and being able to have that data is that you can keep reworking it and figuring out, okay, you know what, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that worked. But that need a little bit more fine tuning. Rachel, what's up, loved one? Maybe this right here need a little bit of fine tuning. You could do that because it's predicated on your experiences, about your thought process, how you think, how you interact with the world, your perception, your perspective, your ideas, your creativity, you accepting self. They want us to be codependent on things. It could be some of the vices. Now you see the world of gambling, right? We see it everywhere. All of the world is just tapped into the frequency of underdog, this and that, paying all of the influencers and people on social media to get more tapped in with gambling. And then right after you finish gambling, they put the little ad at the bottom, which you can barely see. If you are struggling with gambling, call this 1-800 hotline and anonymous and this, that. So what I'm telling you is that there's some things out there that they know are tearing up our communities. They don't care because their premise is, follow the coin, follow the bag, get that money on so they can go out there and feed their family. The guy that owns TikTok, primarily, he has children that he doesn't even allow on TikTok. He said it publicly. Oh yeah, I own TikTok. My children can't go on it though. What do you mean? His children can't go on TikTok. What does that tell you? There's something there that they don't want their children to tap into, whatever it may be. Because maybe they may stumble upon the wrong type of frequency. Maybe they may stumble upon the wrong page where they got a bunch of nudity. They may stumble across the wrong page where there are people that are secretly trying to hunt down children, or on these gaming websites, and you got adults in these chats with children trying to find out their name, their location, where they live at. And before you know it, somebody's showing up to their doorstep or your doorstep. But the only way that you find out that they there is through your Ring camera. But imagine if you didn't have that level of security. May come at and follow you, kill your children to school, watching where they get on the bus, get off the bus. Your children know how to protect themselves because now they glued down staring at their phone as they walk. They don't even know what's going on around them. These things happen in real time. But we got to be the first protectors. How do we protect ourselves? First, getting tapped in with oneself, knowing who you are, knowing your strength, knowing your weaknesses, knowing that the first law of nature, self-preservation, preserve self. And then what you do is you get connected to a community to where we all can help and look out for one another. Because, you know, if somebody does something in the community that's commendable or could be praised, everybody praise that. Oh, yeah, you did a wonderful job. That's how we champion each other. You did a wonderful, I see you, you did a great thing. Powerful, keep doing what you're doing. I'm in support of it. Showing up in real time, telling people, doing whatever you need to do. My sister Rachel says, always tell my children, stick together and be aware of their surroundings. Absolutely, sis. Absolutely. They have to be aware, because if not, there are people out there that's trying to take advantage. And it comes in all forms and fashions. It comes in many, many forms. People want their attention through the media. People want their attention in these schools, the level of education, what they teaching our children. The teaching first starts in the house. That's what I was taught. The teaching starts at home first, because if you're going out there in the real world and letting people teach your children, some of these things may go against your own moral compass and theirs as well. Their right for freedom of speech, now they silence because they can't even say what they want to say. Now your child is in class and they want to say something that they really feel strongly about or opinionated about. And since everybody in the class isn't raising their hand, they choose not to raise theirs. So psychologically, what it tells our children, hey, just go along to get along. Be the people pleaser. I was one of those. I was taught that too. Absolutely, sis. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah. Now everybody know if somebody doing something wrong in the community, you get beat from your neighbor's house to your house, and then when your mom and dad, whoever come home, they find out you did something wrong, you get slapped upside your head again. But hey, man, you're not following the rules and the conduct that we got established in this house to protect you. Speak their mind always, but be respectful and kind. That's powerful. That's a great quality that you're teaching them. Teaching them to speak their mind, but always be respectful and kind. That's powerful, because a lot of, oh man, that's so powerful, sis. That's powerful. Man, listen, that's powerful, because I've been there. I know there's a portion of my life where I operated from the go along, get along perspective, and meaning that I just found ways to fit in those moments where I really felt, different. I didn't want to agree with everybody because I had to have my own opinion. And I since everybody didn't raise their hand, I was like, I don't think this is a good time to raise my hand, because I don't want to be outcasted or ostracized. So I sat back and I said, you know what? Is that it? Everybody raised their hand, and me too. And then everybody got their hand down, and I'm like this too. Oh, close, man. Hope nobody see me about to raise my hand. They may think of me a little different. But now when you teach why it's important for your children to speak up, speak their mind, and be respectful and be kind and have levels of integrity and showing truthfulness and honesty, because now that's the safe space that you created for them. So now they can create that same environment amongst their friends and family members. So now when they come in contact with people, only thing they're seeking is truth. Only thing they're seeking is truth, because it's just operating at their own natural, true nature. That's the cause and effect for them living in a purpose by being truthful, speaking their mind, being honest, open, respectful, and kind. They are operating from a natural, pure state. And then what happens is when they create that behavior, that's how they know how to do things from an honest and pure place. So when they get approached with things, the best way for them, the best defense is being super intuitive to who they are in nature. So they will never feel conflicted about speaking their mind, even when the rest of the room is opposing of it. They have high levels of agency, being able to make a decision. And then once that agency, once they be able to just to make the decision alone, then it falls into the line of levels of discernment, then levels of prudence. Now they having wisdom behind their decision making. You know what? Although I did this yesterday, that didn't work out for me. Now today I'm gonna do it this way. Although I had a question that I needed to do some further research on, I went found the answers because I looked in my study guide and I found the right answers, and I conversed with my fellow study mates, and now we all came up with the answer together, and we all got the answer. Fellowship, strength in numbers. That's how those things work. But if we not taught these things, we would be those souls out there just try thinking that we could take on the world by ourselves. It don't work like that. That's why you see people that run businesses and established businesses, they are always moving parts of more than one component. You go into McDonald's, you got somebody that's dumping the fries, you got somebody at the cash register, you got somebody in the back taking inventory, you got somebody wiping down the tables and sweeping and mopping the floors. They got a lot of moving parts. One person at the drive-through window, one person running the food out from the drive-through or from the inside, online orders. Some people serving the people with Uber and with the Grubhub and all these other people that's coming in. Everybody's moving, but everybody got to do their job. But together we can move the masses as a community. If we start to understand trust in one another, because that's where the trust start to build up. That's where we start to learn how to depend on other people as well as ourselves. But that trusted environment, can you do your job? Or you can't do your job? How can we make you, or how can we aid you to be the best version of yourself so you can operate this thing with efficiency? That meaning that we could come together and where can I help you at? What do you need to learn? Do you know how to do the numbers on the cash register? All right, cool. We're going to do it like this. Okay. All right. We're going to do it like that. All right. The food, the inventory, you can check the inventory. Or we're going to need some more burgers, we need some more fries, we need some more pickles. I get the condiments, blah, 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 blah. And now we got a well-oiled machine because everybody know they role. And we all willing to get our hands dirty in the midst of helping one another. Now we building fellowship, community, powerful, powerful, powerful. It all starts with that one seed, you figuring out that, you know what? Hey, I want change. I'm going to promote something that's different than what I was taught. Although I didn't have the best upbringing that I ideally want to be champion on and super proud of. But one thing that is of value is that you made it through that. And now you can share your experiences, and now you can create that safe haven that you didn't have because you know how you felt in those moments that can't nobody ever teach you. Those other people speak about it from an analysis perspective, but if you live through it, you can say, you know what, at this point in time, when you're going through this is the emotion. This is what I did to escape. This is what I did to step out. This is what I did to go out there and to build my voice up. This is what I did to navigate to another environment. This is what I did to find ways to be more accepting of self. You can figure out how to communicate that because you've gone through it. And some people are in search for those answers right now today. Some people are looking for these answers. Looking for these answers. And then you have the solution to the problem. You have the solution to their problem because your testimony, you have gone through it. So sometimes not being invited to the party, that's a-okay. You create your own table. You don't got to be invited to the cool table. You create your own table. And then you tell everybody else, pull up your chair, pull up your chair, pull up your chair, pull up your chair. And then over here, we do things like this. Seth Godin says, people like us do things like this. Excuse me. People like us do things like this. Meaning that, yeah, we may not do things the way those other individuals, or he, she, them, they, whatever. We don't do things like them over there. And that's okay. Because they operating from a position of being the best version of themselves. But we can create that same space over here with us. And we can teach these same methods along the lines of our lineage, from children to child to family to husband to wife to kids to grandpa to elderly to the newborns. And then the spaces that we occupy when it comes to our businesses, our work, right down those lines, and showing that there's a level of responsibility that we all need to have in order to promote the growth and development, because that's where we grow at. Everybody's held accountable for their own actions. You got a job to do. I got to show up and be accountable for it when I don't do it. That's the slapping aside your head. We ain't do the right thing. You did something wrong, or you violated the codes of our family. Meaning that, okay, you went against your brother, your sister in the community. You did something that's just should be punishable, to show you that, hey, over here, to protect one another, we don't do things like that. We don't go into the bodega and we don't steal, because this is where we all feed our families from. We got to come here, we get bread, milk, etc. We got to come in here every other day. Well, take out the milk because but I'm saying we got to come in here and get the necessities in order to feed our minds and our bodies to be the best version of ourselves. So that means that we don't steal from the places that we look to get fed from. We don't steal from the places we looking to get fed from. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. We got to come out there with the perspective that we all got to protect one another. We all got to feed one another. Hey, if you don't got, back in the day, they say, yo, hey, can I go borrow some sugar? You don't got no sugar? You go to your neighbor give you some sugar. One of the children looking like, they had a long day. They didn't go to school. Is that such and such son or daughter? Nah, we got to bring him in here. Nah, we got to prep them. I don't know why is it 10 o'clock in the morning? They ain't in school. Something ain't right. All right, come on, man. Hold on. I'm bringing them in the house first, man. Why are you in the school? Where your parents at? Did you eat? Let me feed you first. We're going to get down to the bottom of this. And then now, hey, what's the cause of it? We don't know. There may be something that's going on in home, school, something we don't know what's going on. But as a community, we protect one another like that by doing the wellness check with everybody and making sure that we all doing our job. Hey, if he or she as a parent ain't doing their job, it's us as a community say, yo, hey, nah, no, we take care of one another around here. So you as a parent, you got to go get the help. You got to go get therapy. You got to go get to clinic, whatever it may be. You need somebody to talk. We here. Open our ears, because we got to protect one another. That's family. That's community. But we got to show up in that manner for oneself first too. And then now we can be able to preach that along the way and create those same spaces at our table. The ones that they don't want to invite us to, that's cool. We don't got to go over there and go to that table. We create our own table. Rachel says, my favorite saying is, one hand washes the other and both wash the face. Yes, sis. One more time. They need to hear it again. Rachel says, my favorite saying is, one hand washes the other and both washes the face. So powerful. So powerful. Meaning that we depend on all of our faculties. We depend on each other. We depend on us showing up as a collective and doing the job as a unit, as a unity, doing the job as a unit in unity. That's what that looks like. And don't be afraid to do that, because a lot of times people would tell you that you're not qualified, or you shouldn't look out for them because they didn't look out for you when you was at the bottom. The dog eat dog mindset. Now that you up in life, now it's like, I'm up. I'm King Kong. Nah, I don't want nobody. Nobody can eat me now, because when I was at the bottom, nobody came and saved me. That's what a lot of people do in our community. Yeah, nobody was there for me. I did this by myself. I made it out the mud myself. You ain't do it by yourself. You ain't do it by yourself. God was somewhere in there. God was in there working while you working, because you're a part of the whole. You part of God. In my belief system, I am God. In my belief system, I am God. I am part of the creation. So I know who I am. And I know that every act that allowed me to get to one place to another is just opening my eyes for sight. That's God working. That's me tapping in with oneself, getting tapped in with that God in me. And now, since I'm getting tapped in, and now my eyes went from blurriness to start getting some sight, now I got vision. That's what that looked like. Whoever your creator is, whoever you pray to, whoever you give um those blessings towards. You gotta look in those directions to know that that system, I don't know if it's gonna help you or hurt you, but whatever you need to do in order to aid you to get from point A to point B, you need to start tapping into that if it's there to help you. If it's there to help you. And if you're getting the assistance and help along those paths, it's worthwhile you get more tapped in with it. Whatever system, whatever it is that works for you. Some people need structure, some people need guidance. I think we all need some level of structure and guidance. You know, it's good to have free range to do what you want, but us together, there are things that we have to follow because you go against the laws of nature. There's consequences for that. There are consequences for not following the laws of nature. Everything got laws. We are governed by them. Rachel says, was just about to say that talk that talk, Reed. Absolutely, sis. Definitely needed this word. Thank you. No, I thank you, sis. We needed it because I wouldn't have gone down this path if your presence wasn't there. So we did this together. That's the beauty of this. This conversation wouldn't have gotten here without you. So we did this together. And that's the beauty of us showing up in real time and being able to offer who we are, showing up pure in that space. That's the beauty, that's the gift and the beauty and the value that you have. And that's the shared experiences that I have as well. And we all do this together. And then the more and more conversations that we bring and the more enlightenment that we have and more transparency that we have and more truthfulness that we stand on and more optimistic perspectives instead of being more pessimistic. The cup is half full. We have a positive outlook. I remember there's a point in time in my space and thinking where they used to tell me, nah, don't think about nothing you can't have. Don't think about nothing that you don't have already. And things of that nature. Like don't dream. So I always thought that, I swear, I used to think that me thinking about a better tomorrow was more taboo, meaning that I thought if I thought about having some of these things without physically having it in the moment, I thought that I would never accomplish it or I would never get it. So I never spoke these things into existence. I learned that system somewhere and it's destructive. I learned that system not to ask the universe, not to ask for me to go out there and work these hands and work these legs and work this mind, to go out there and acquire the thing that I want and be able to shape and mold my purpose. I was taught along my journey not to think about none of that. And I think about those years of how much of my mind was handicapped because the things that I wanted to bring into my world, I never even spoke about them. I never written them down. I never asked for them. I never tried to go out there and work those channels. And then now I'm like, whatever system I was tapped into was actually working against me. Sometimes these systems are disguised as if they're there to help and they're really there to hurt. Sometimes these systems are disguised as if they're there helping you and they're there really to hurt you. And this is what we have to look out for, making sure that the systems that you're in working for you. Because, all work works, right? All work works. Myron Golden said that all work works. So meaning that, we don't have to diminish our value because it may not seem like we chipping away at the stone that we carving out to be, the purpose-driven individual. We chiseling away at that sculpture that have that idea statue that we want to, look at in our near future and become, right? But the thing is, if I'm not chiseling and I'm not doing that work and I'm afraid to assert myself in that area, how would I ever become the thing? I would never become the thing. And there are things that are working against you. Tell you don't do that. Put the chisel down, Johnny. Put the chisel down. Stop thinking like that, Johnny. You are dreaming too big. You know where you from. You came from a small town. Boy, stop dreaming big. You can't have that car. You crazy. You can't have that house. You're not deserving of that money. Who are you? Who what? No, Johnny. No, work here. Don't expand your mind. No, it's not even worth it. Look where you come from. Look who you are. Look at the color of your skin. Look at this. Look at that. Bah, 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 bah. You come from slaves or whoever. All your people's in bondage. You don't even nah, you never have this, you never acquire this. That's what they feed you. And we trying to shake that. Get up off me. Get up off me, man. Get up off me, man. I don't care. Dodging it. Like the raindrops. They trying to drop them spells on you to make you feel like you know, inferior. And you already God's gift. Because you're already part of you part of the truth. But you got to operate from that standpoint that you are the truth. And whatever systems out there that are not working for you, change your system up. People, places, and things. That's all of our food. People, places, and these things is all of our food. So keep feeding yourself the good things. Keep telling yourself that you are worthy of. Keep speaking those things into existence that you want to become. Keep chiseling away at that sculpture. Become the person. Design your purpose. Your purpose is created. We have leverage in our lives because of who we are. So everybody has a different leverage. Some people are super inquisitive when they come with their mindset. Some people are super skillful when they come using their hands. Some people are just gifted, like my man Josh, my brother Josh, running 5 miles in 17 minutes. Huh? What? I remember when I ran my mile in high school, I think I did like 8 minutes for 1 mile. The boy ran a mile at 7 minutes, man. Like, whew. My boy right now doing 5 and 17. You know, developed skill set, took the leverage, took his leverage, his God innate talent, and keep refining it because he works out every day. My boy chiseled up, works out. So not only did he have the gift, he works his gift. We all are given our gifts, but we got to keep refining it, keep working it, keep getting sharper, keep doing the thing repetitiously every day. So now we keep building up the tolerance. And then now we start doing things from an obedient standpoint. We start doing things from an obedient standpoint, not sacrifice. We do the thing whether we want to do it or not. That's how we get stronger and better. We show up every day, no matter what, and just keep giving concerted effort. And then learn as we go. You know what? I did that wrong. Let me do this a little bit better. Let me try it this way. Then now you know what? Oh, I found a new way to do a thing. And now you'll be able to carry that same skill set or acquired skill set for the next go round. And let that just compound on top of one another. Keep compounding on one top or another. Powerful, powerful. That's your gift. That's your talent. You already got the gift and the talent, but now we got to leverage it. And we got to keep reworking it, keep refining it, becoming better, the best version of ourselves, no matter who opposes of it. Don't matter because they're not living your life. You're the only one that got to live your life. Simply. So no matter what the people may say, you be the final judge of your life and who you are and where you want to be at. Because if we left it up to them, you know, they secretly working against you. So they don't want the best for you. They just want you to be a cog in the system. Just one moving component that's working for their better and greater good. They only want you to be a cog in the system working for their better and greater good. But then now you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know, hold up, man. How's this working for me? How is this working for me? Fair exchange in a robbery. So meaning that, you know, we got to come to the table and say, how do we leverage our resources together? What can I gain from this interaction? What can I offer from this interaction? What resource can be gained from one another? How can we come together as a collective and make these things work? We could do it. I know we can do it because we doing it. We doing it. No matter what the people out there say, we doing it. And I don't want that fire to get burnt out or you be burnt out because you feel like nobody's with you. Nah. You walking with God every step. You walking with God every step. Do it all. So don't ever let nobody tell you different. Keep pushing. Keep being a resource. Be resourceful. Keep extending your arms. Keep putting acts of servitude out there. Keep showing up for you first and then the world. Keep showing up for you first, and then the world. They say that if you help enough people get what they want, you eventually get what you want. I forgot who said it. I can't quote the individual, but he said, you help enough people get what they want, you eventually get. I think maybe uh uh um what's my brother name? The older dude, the older white dude passed. Um Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn. Yep. I think he said it. He said if you help enough people get what they want, you eventually get what you want. Mm, man, that was powerful. Today was a powerful build. I'm super pumped, super ecstatic. I love to say this as a disclaimer. If I said something along these lines that choir, what's up, loved one? Shout out to the baby, you heard? Unlimited love. You got the young God, powerful. Um, yeah, if I said something tonight that offended, understand that my intentions wasn't to hurt. That's the first and foremost. So understand that I came from a point and perspective of trying to be open, honest, and transparent. And there's some things I'm continuously going to learn and grow through. There's some things that I'm unaware of. And if I'm speaking from a place of ignorance, according to you, understand that I'm only speaking from where I'm at in my life. And then if there's some acquired knowledge that you're able to share with me, I would love it. So you can bring me abreast on what's going on. So now we can rework this channel together. So as a disclaimer, if I said something that offended, understand my intentions wasn't to do so. If there's something that you was able to take and go away with and utilize and put into your family, I commend you for doing so. Oh, my sis said, what? Glad I tuned in. Definitely needed to hear this. You and me both, sis. Big Fendi. Big Fendi. Shout out to everybody that tapped in real time. And it's nothing but unconditional love. And I want you to go out there and just keep being you and keep utilizing your skill sets, develop them, sharpen them, refine them, keep being purpose driven, keep putting those acts of servitude out there, and don't let nobody diminish your value because people will try to do it. Some people are doing it right in plain sight. Some people do it secretly, and this is with the people, places, and things, environments. All these things people. These things have agendas, and to make sure that you're primary in yours. Make sure that you show up in your life the way you need to show up in your life because you're valued. Don't let nobody take that away from you. Man, super dope, super powerful. Don't forget to go tap in. Shout out to everybody on all of the platforms: Instagram, YouTube, StreamYard, TikTok, all of the dope platforms. And I see you next week, man, 7 p.m. Same bat time, same bat place. And do your thing, man. I love you unconditionally. Love yourself even more. Respectfully.